What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be starting up my Improving Axis Football series yet again in preparation for the Axis Football 2017 version. Supposed to launch in August of next year. He's actually pushing the date back a little bit because this is probably going to be a really big improvement over the 16 version in a lot of aspects. And so he's going to need more time. He's actually starting work on the 17 version a lot earlier than he did on the 16 version, and I suspect there's a lot of reasons for that, mainly because of how many improvements are going to be put into this game, commentary, graphics, tons of stuff that I'm still trying to even pitch to him that I don't know if he's going to put in the game or not, but hopefully this is going to be a version that really pushes the bar and actually is worthy of the consoles. I know he tried to go to console last year, but he just wasn't up to par graphically, and people expect graphics, and the physics are way underwhelming. They need to improve extensively in a lot of areas before they can be accepted on a console, in my opinion. But today we're going to be talking about some of that, the physics, and particularly the running physics in the game that needs to be improved. And in this year's version, he put in the juke and the spin and the dive, and that's great. But we missed out on the power moves and the power running. And power running in football is a big deal because some running backs just like to go right over their guy. Some like to go around, but some like to go straight through. And I'm going to have some examples of that in this video. And I'd like for him to kind of look at this and say, okay, this is what power running is about. Because I'm going to be using some clips from one of my favorite players that I used to watch. He doesn't play anymore. Ronnie Brown for the Dolphins. He was a power runner. He was a short, stocky guy, but he ran like a mad bull all the time, and he would just try to just take people down and with a shoulder charge. And the shoulder charge was something that was in 2K, and it was done very well. It was actually in Madden 08 as well, but it was used as, it was kind of like the truck stick or whatever. But we need this move in the game, and let me talk about some other things too. But let's get started. One of the biggest flaws in Axis football as far as their running game is that the runners do not fall forward, and they don't seem to have a sense of momentum when they're running. They just kind of get tackled and they just stop immediately. There is one animation where I see he gets tackled by like he goes down on a knee or whatever, but that's the only animation I've seen that does that. But in general, there is no sense of momentum in this game. And that's something that he really needs to focus on with physics. I don't know what kind of physics engine that this Unity engine has, but there's going to have to be some major improvements, especially if he's going to console. The physics of the game, especially in the running game, have to be improved. It have to be improved vastly. So we're going to talk about how that's going to affect the power running in this game. We want it to mimic real life as much as possible, obviously, but video games and real life are not the same thing, but we try as hard as we can to get to that level of realism. So the momentum, falling forward after running plays, you see every running back in the NFL, college, high school try to get extra yards after they're running. They dip their shoulder, they go low, they try to crawl a little bit or whatever if they're not touched. Sometimes these running backs look like torpedoes when they're going for extra yards trying to finish off runs. And so that's what we're trying to get to here. So let's get to some examples. Okay, there's a few things that he does on this play that I really want to see in Axis football. The first thing that he does is when he's going through the hole, he kind of goes low. He goes low and kind of slips through the hole, and I'll pause it to show you. And then how he finishes off the run with a shoulder charge. A shoulder charge is a move that we need in Axis football, and of course the stiff arm and things. We'll get to that later. But the shoulder charge is the area of focus right now, and how he lowers himself to kind of slip through, and Darren Sproles does this really well too. But let's watch this play at speed, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Power running at its finest, right there. Slips through the hole, and right here finishes off the run with a shoulder charge to get into the end zone, and a spike for good measure. Elusive backs are really good at finding holes that are really, really small. And so in this case, this isn't a small hole by any means, but he's lowering his head, kind of lowering his center of gravity so he can kind of slip through this hole and make it harder for those defenders to tackle him. And then when he gets into the open field, he's revving up. He's already decided what he's going to do. He's planning his next move to destroy that defender at the goal line. That's not going to stop him under any circumstances. We need this kind of, user control in Axis football where we can kind of, duck under holes and through people. And then Madden 08 did this pretty well. I think it was the highlight stick where you could kind of, it wasn't, specific where you could duck every time, I don't think. But if you had a small back, you could do like a duck move, duck under people. But if there's some way he could do this in Axis football, that'd be amazing. If we could have more, control of how we get through holes. There's a lot of work to be done, guys. This is a long process. And, of course, the shoulder charge. We need this kind of power move in the game. We don't have any power moves currently. To break a tackle, you just have a good back, and they just don't tackle him. There's no interactions with the tackles and the running backs. Like the tackle animation and the running back, there's nothing. He just kind of runs through it. Another great example of power running here. He just bowls over the defender yet again. It looks like a repeat of the in New England game, but that was against the Raiders. And here again, he goes low. He goes low and just torpedoes his way into the end zone. And this is my favorite. Look how he shoulder charges right here. Boom! And then he just keeps going. The momentum, he just keeps going. He blasts through that guy, and he's off to the races. That's the kind of power we want to feel when we're running the football. All of these runs, as you can see, he's going forward. He's diving. He's low to the ground sometimes. He's always trying to get that extra yardage to get over the pylon or get that first down. He's stumbling. And that's another thing. There's no stumbling mechanic or anything in the game. And like I said, this goes back to physics, guys. We got to have physics in the game. And if we don't have that, the running game will never be as great as it could be. But, yeah, running and never giving up the momentum. As you can see, all these runs, the momentum is carrying him forward. This is something we must have in Axis football eventually. Boom, right there. See how he doesn't even use the shoulder charge. He just kind of used his power to go over the guy. And then he was off to the races again. This is what we must see. Momentum in football games is something that it has to be there. It's a huge part of the game. And if we don't have a great momentum system in place, then you can't really build off of it. And again, here's a stiff arm. This is another move that Axis football does not have right now. And you see how he just kind of gets a little bit extra yards, drags the guy a little farther, and forces him out of bounds there. But he still was able to get a few extra yards just from using a stiff arm. Bouncing to the outside, doing a little juke. And just, again, falling forward every time. As you can see in all of these runs, he's falling forward, dipping his shoulder, or trying to run through somebody. This is what we need to see. And if we could see this in Axis football, oh man, it would add a lot to the game, let me tell you, because we'd have elusive backs and power backs running now. And we got to have the best of both worlds, guys. And, of course, the last move that we're missing here is the hurdle. See how he kind of just hurdles over a little bit right there and gets he got a touchdown on that one. Yeah. See, watch him how he hurdles. He catches the ball, accelerates, and right here, whoop, just kind of gets a little extra. We need this in Axis football. And I love how he stretched over the goal line. And that's a move that only Backbreaker has, I think, where they kind of just stretch out with one arm, and there's that stiff arm again in a closer viewpoint there. Yep, we want to see power running, guys. Power running in Axis football. Momentum in Axis football. That's the key. Momentum and power running. Hopefully that's a staple for this year in the running game, or something can be done with the physics. I don't know, guys, but there's going to be more videos coming up, guys. This is just the beginning. It's going to be a great year for Axis football and, of course, for competition with Cal Anderson coming. Lots of good things are in place, guys. The days of only playing Madden are coming to an end. That's it, guys. I'll see you guys next time.